My darling philosophers, welcome to our daily devotional reading. I hope you are well. Let's close our eyes. I might fall asleep if I sit like this too long. I have been kept up for a while. Oof. So let's just feel into the feeling then. The heaviness on the eyelids. A sort of darkening. Almost sinking into oblivion. The desire to sink into oblivion pulling me. And then that resistance because I still need to record. But when you can fall asleep, sink into that feeling of being pulled into unconsciousness. It sounds scary when I say it like that. I think I did have an experience once of I don't know how to say it, but I'm not afraid of being completely unconscious anymore. And generally I sleep very easily because of that. So just let your eyelids be heavy. Let the darkness enfold you. Let the sharpness of your mind soften as you feel yourself sinking. I'm not going to allow that now, but sometimes I also feel my prefrontal cortex shutting down, letting go. Whoops, it's there. And then you feel the body relax. A sense almost like sinking underneath warm water. Deeper and deeper. Knowing you will come back up again, refreshed. But for now, or at least after the reading, or skip the reading tonight and just go to bed, just sleep. If that's what you want to do. Just let yourself fall into the darkness, into oblivion. Into the nothing. Where everything is one. And I would have you look at the manner in another light, which could hardly, I think, have been considered by you when you identified them. Are not the good good because they have good present with them, as the beautiful are those who have beauty present with them? Yes. And do you call the fools and cowards good men? For you were saying just now that the courageous and the wise are the good. Would you not say so? Certainly. And that you never see a foolish child rejoicing? Yes, I have. And a foolish man too? Yes, certainly. But what is your drift? Nothing particular, if you will only answer. Yes, I have. And did you ever see a sensible man rejoicing or sorrowing? Yes. Which rejoice and sorrow most, the wise or the foolish? They are much on par, I think, in that respect. Enough. And did you ever see a coward in battle? To be sure. And which rejoiced most at the departure of the enemy, the coward or the brave? I should say most of both, or at any rate they rejoiced about equally. No matter, then the coward and only the brave rejoiced. Greatly. The coward and not only the brave rejoiced greatly, and the foolish, so it would seem. Yes. And are only the cowards pained at the approach of their enemies, or are the brave also pained? Both are pained. And are they equally pained? I should imagine that the cowards are more pained. And are they not better pleased at the enemy's departure? I dare say. Then are the foolish and the wise and the cowards and the brave all pleased and pained, as you were saying, in nearly equal degree? But are the cowards more pleased and pained than the brave? Yes. But surely the wise and brave are the good, and the foolish and the cowardly are the bad. Yes. Then the good and the bad are pleased and pained in a nearly equal degree. Yes. Then are the good and the bad good and bad in nearly equal degree? Or have the bad the advantage both in good and evil? That is, in having more pleasure and more pain. I really do not know what you mean. Why do you not remember saying that the good were good because good was present with them, and the evil because evil, and that pleasures were good and pains evil? Yes, I remember. And are not these pleasures or goods present to those who rejoice, if they do rejoice? Certainly. Then those who rejoice are good when goods are present with them. Yes. And those who are in pain have evil or sorrow present with them. Yes. And would you still say that the evil are evil by reason of the presence of evil? I should. Then those who rejoice are good, and those who are in pain, evil. Hello, Job. Job's friends, I mean. Yes. The degree of good and evil vary with the degree of pleasure and pain. Yes. Have the wise man and the fool, the brave and the coward, joy and pain in nearly equal degrees? Or would you say that the coward has more? I would say that he has. Help me then to draw out the conclusion which follows from our admissions. For it is good to repeat and review what is good twice and thrice over, as they say. Both the wise man and the brave man we allowed to be good. Yes, and the foolish man and the coward to be evil. Certainly. And he who has joy is good. Yes, and he who is in pain is evil. Certainly. The good and evil both have joy and pain, but perhaps the evil has more of them. Yes. Then must we not infer that the bad man is as good and bad as the good, or perhaps even better? Is not this a further inference which follows equally from the preceding, from the assertion that the good and the pleasant are the same? Can this be denied, Callicles? I have been listening and making admissions to you, Socrates, and I remark that if a person grants you anything in play, you, like a child, want to keep hold and will not give it back. But do you really suppose that I or any other human being denies that some pleasures are good and others bad? Alas, Callicles, how unfair you are! You certainly treat me as if I were a child, sometimes saying one thing and then another, as if you were meaning to deceive me. And yet I thought at first that you were my friend, and would not have deceived me if you could have helped. But I see that I was mistaken, and now I suppose that I must make the best of the bad business, as they say of old, and take what I can get out of you. Well then, as I understand you to say, I may assume that some pleasures are good and others evil. Yes. The beneficial are good and the hurtful are evil, to be sure. And the beneficial are those which do some good, and the hurtful are those which do some evil. Yes. Take, for example, the bodily pleasures of eating and drinking, which we were just now mentioning. You mean to say that those which promote health and other bodily excellence are good, and their opposites evil? Certainly. And in the same way there are good pains and there are evil pains, to be sure. And ought we not to choose the use of the good pleasures and pains? Certainly, but not the evil. Clearly. Because if you remember, Polus and I have agreed that all our actions are to be done for the sake of the good. And will you agree with us in saying that the good is the end of all our actions, and that all our actions are to be done for the sake of the good, and not the good for the sake of them? Will you add a third vote to our two? I will. And pleasure, like everything else, is to be sought for the sake of that which is good, and not that which is good for the sake of pleasure. To be sure. But can every man choose what pleasures are good and what are evil? Or must he have art or knowledge of them in detail? He must have art. Let me now remind you of what I was saying to Gorgias and Polus. I was saying as you will not have forgotten that there were some processes which aim only at pleasure and know nothing of a better or worse. And there are other processes, I hear it said differently, which know good and evil. And I consider that cookery, which I do not call an art, but only an experience, was of the former class, which is concerned with pleasure, and that the art of medicine was the class which is concerned with the good. And now, by the God of friendship, I must beg you, Callicles, not to jest or to imagine that I am jesting with you. Do not answer at random and contrary to your real opinion, for you will observe that we are arguing about the way of human life. And to a man who has any sense at all, what question can be more serious than this? Whether he should follow after that way of life to which you exhort me, and act what you call the manly part of speaking in the assembly and cultivating rhetoric and engaging in public affairs according to the principles now in vogue, or whether he should pursue the life of philosophy, and in what the latter way differs from the former. But perhaps we had better first to try to distinguish them, as I did before. And when we have come to an agreement that they are distinct, we may proceed to consider in what they differ from one another, and which of them we should choose. Perhaps, however, you do not even now understand what I mean. No, I do not. Thus far our scripture of the evening. Maybe I should read this again. I had a strange sensation as I was reading this. And now, by the God of friendship, I must beg you, Callicles, not to jest or to imagine that I am jesting with you. Do not answer at random and contrary to your real opinion, for you will observe that we are arguing about the way of human life. And to a man who has any sense at all, what question can be more serious than this? Whether you should follow after that way of life to which you exhort me, and act what you call the manly part of speaking in the assembly, and cultivating rhetoric, and engaging in public affairs, according to the principles now in vogue, or whether he should pursue the life of philosophy, and in what the latter way differs from the former. But perhaps we had better first try to distinguish them. I think that's enough. It's funny. The symbol of the day and the feeling that's currently in me seems to contradict each other. But maybe they don't. Ooh, a challenge. Should we pursue the life of philosophy or the life of speaking in assemblies, rhetoric, etc.? Why on earth did I write details? Oh, that is so weird. I will always encourage learning and carving out your mark in the pursuit of deeper knowledge. I cannot imagine what I will do if you stop taking us along. All or what actions are to be done for the sake of the good. Everything that I've obviously wrote that wrong or read it wrong. Everything that we do, we should do for the sake of the good. That is the ideal. The way of human life. What is the ideal way of human life that would be in accordance to this, doing everything for the sake of the good? Is religion necessary, even obligatory, if you want to live a life for the sake of the good? Folly wrote something, sorry, no, I'll try to remember to tag it, on despair. How things have to get worse before they can get better. Because you can be so deep in despair that you don't even realize it. And the combination of too little sleep, too much sun, and most likely a little bit too much wine, with the words of folly and something else, I don't know what, that triggered me now, really makes me feel that despair. Maybe because I allowed myself to sink a little bit deeper than I usually do at the beginning of the recording. The life without religion. I deeply envy the people who were born in secular homes, never exposed to religion. and whose minds seem to be whole without religion. What is the despair they feel? Because this despair is not new. It's part of being human, I think. And I honestly do think that any attempt to escape the despair is cowardice and a lie, be it a noble lie. It's so different from yesterday. So now you have both sides. And I think religion is an attempt to escape this despair. So what do we do with it? We feel it, yes. And then we carry it. That's all, we carry it. We carry it as a reminder that everything is fleeting. There's an E word, a word that starts with ephemeral. What does that mean? Everything is temporary. Everything is clouded. Everything comes with a price. And let that be the reason why we strive towards the good. Why we do everything for the sake of the good. Because this despair is so heavy. Carrying it makes us so strong that we can move mountains. Though maybe not alone. The good person is the one who has goodness present with them. The beautiful person, the one who has beauty present with them. The honest person, the true person, the one who has truth present with them. you don't meet real beauty, real goodness in the shallow waters. You only find it when you are willing and able to go into the deep, the darkest depths. I had something much more fun planned for tonight. That is the thing I have. I pride myself in being fun. It's the one compliment everyone will give me. And I think that's important too. Because we are most human when we play. We are best at alchemizing the despair into beauty, goodness, and truth through art, in play. And when we play, we lose ourselves. And the world, everyone around us, becomes brighter. And we ourselves become brighter. I have my hand on the symbol book. And it's saying yes, so I'm allowed to open it. Today, my darling philosophers, oh, maybe I should have spoken about the other things first. No, it's fine. We have the thigh. And yes, it does resemble or symbolize exactly what you think it symbolizes. The thigh. Interesting, I thought. In the famous story of Jacob's wrestling with the angel of God, the angel touches Jacob's inner thigh, simultaneously disjointing and consecrating him. Gives a whole different meaning to we who wrestle with God. I should, in his defense and in mine, I never wrestled with Jordan Peterson. Not like that. Don't know which God he wrestled with. It wasn't me. So, if you do wrestle with God, now you know what you're doing. Maybe an awkward moment to make the transition. But oh well. I feel really bad to try to persuade someone or win someone over to my faith, whatever my faith is. Especially since everyone else is trying the same person. But I don't feel like I'm going mad anymore, because I know some of it is real. There's more. And I would like to know more, but I'm calm that I will know more when I need to know more, if I ever need to know more. Also, I was Friday last week, like literally alarms were going off everywhere. Last week, Wednesday, this week Wednesday, I spoke to 2 friends at work separately about everything. Because the one asked me, like, hey, are you sleeping better? Did you get some sleep? So I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm regaining my sanity. And the conclusion we came to, at least me and one of the friends, they're both open to spirituality. One is a Christian, and the other one maybe as well, but not typical, at least. I've been calling myself a priestess for some time. Not really doing anything. Saying like, oh, this and this and this is what priestesses and priests do. They represent the gods to the people and the people to the gods. But not really doing it myself. And probably this started a few years ago, I just didn't notice. I started drawing I just checked, 2024. I had the desire to draw for some time, and then in November last year, I went to visit a friend of mine in Scotland, and he's a minister. And so he was working, so I took my drawing stuff and I started drawing there for the first time. And I had a lot of pictures printed of people I could draw, but the only person I could draw was Alex. And sometime when I was doing my Jungian study, I was already thinking that, so that's 2016, 2018, around there. I was already thinking of getting a personalized doormat, not like in front of my apartment, not downstairs. And the one option, seeing that I was doing depth therapy and thinking of what I was saying tonight, that might have been the better option, was abandon hope all who enter here. I didn't end up getting that one. I had another one custom made because I couldn't find it anywhere. Knock and the door will be opened unto you. Or knock and it will be opened unto you. And I didn't really connect the two until I was talking to my friends about it. Reading, what was the exact words? Knocking for so long that my fingers are almost bruised, or something like that. The really broke my heart. And in the meantime, I'm here going mad from this incessant knocking that I just don't know how to respond to it. I don't know what the fuck, what's going on. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if I'm being called to practice what I claim to be. And then I don't know if it is my lady. I hope it's my lady. I think it's my lady. Wisdom. Or some new forming deity. Or if there is actually if we are human beings. I have noticed that I think I've mentioned before, like I'm like a cauldron. I throw a lot of ideas in there and then it pops up and I don't necessarily know where from. That's why I don't always give the due credit, but it's always from somewhere. Bernardo Kastrup, although I haven't actually read his book, apparently I can absorb information just by having the book. Well, it's on my altar thing, so maybe that's why. Together with Sheehan's book, because it's actually my reading pile, currently reading, but I haven't started Bernardo yet. So him, Carl Jung, of course, his answer to Job. I had that. Oh, also I had it written here because that whole, when they're in pain, they're evil, it's such a word faith movement thing. And Job is, of course, written against that whole sentiment. Like, that's just bullshit. That's just bullshit. And, well, of course, Alex. So I don't know if this is all because there is some deity behind it all, or because we human beings are, in fact, as good as it gets at this stage. Although Bernardo also has really interesting views on advanced civilizations. And maybe there's something about that too, I don't know. I've had strange reactions from babies lately. But positive. They adore me. And I should say most of them. I haven't had the exception yet, but just in case. And maybe there is something new forming. Minds connecting in some weird way. I mean, it could be, why not? If everything is one. We don't really have a clue how anything works and what anything is. Then it could be that some human minds because I've noticed coincidences and things posted that I spoke on already, or the other way around. A lot. Also. And so yeah, maybe minds are starting to connect. You shouldn't have knocked that hard. You completely knocked me out of balance. Wouldn't that be funny if it was all him? Well, I don't know what the fuck, but I do know one thing. Well, three things. Everything is interconnected. And we might be gathering some sort of proof of that. I would consider myself successfully having had, what is the word? Corrupted the youth, if folly lets me baptize him in the White Spring in Glastonbury. And Sophia herself will guide your way.